Okay, right. Good evening, guys. Sorry for the small delay. Can you let me know if you all can hear me and see a screen? Yes, can see a screen. Yes, right. Okay, perfect. So today what we need to do is today is our third class. Okay, so like you all know, the first four classes that is where we cover unit number one is completely free. So we have done two classes for now. Today is the third class, and currently 200 registrations have kind of been completed. Okay, so all the tutes and files that I printed, I have couriered it to the students. So there is no more free tutes and files that I have left with me. So I'm hoping the ones who, most of you all would have got it by now, right? So more than 200 students have registered. Some of them I know, they don't come to class, they try to watch the recording and get that done. But I'll tell you guys as a practice, try to make sure to regularly come to class. One reason is that that gives you the discipline, right? It gives you the discipline that, okay, right, in order to come to class, I will actually finish the work. I will do the paper. I will go through that area and come. Now, I know the recording is there right now. These days, I do upload the recording on YouTube, but going forward, it will be there on the website. But still, some people think, all right, recording is there. I can, watch it at any time. But then what happens is work starts getting piled up. So remember, I told you in the first week, try to allocate around 2 to 3 hours per week now. Now that has to come from you. Now you all have around 1 year to go for A levels, maybe a little less than that, maybe a little more than that. We don't know. So given that time, right now per subject, at least you need to start allocating around 3 hours every week. So if you can allocate 3 hours every week for econ, I'm pretty sure you can easily cover this focus area, do the paper, and also make your short note and all of it can come. Right. How many of you all actually made the short note, guys? Yes. For uh, focus area 3, economic systems. Did you all make the short note and, okay, at least did the paper, something, tried something out? Yes. Give me a second until I start sharing the thing. Where are we? Uh, okay, right? Okay, so looks like most of you all have, right, from the answers that I'm getting on the chat box. Good to see that most of you all actually have. Okay, give me a second. Okay, right? So nice to see you all actually working and getting things done. Okay, so just to tell you all what is going to happen, guys, in the next few weeks, right? Since I've got a lot of messages from students and all, I've not been able to reply. Okay, so let me take 5 minutes just to give you all the plan for the next few months or for the next, let's say, 1 year. Now, like I said at the very first class, currently I have a theory class that is going on also, and we are going to start unit number 5 this Wednesday. Now, unit number 5 is a little bit of a tricky unit. It's about national income accounting, and it's not connected to any of the previous units. So you don't have to know unit number 1, 2, 3, or 4 to understand unit number 5. So if anyone is willing to join the theory class, you can join from this Wednesday onwards. You can come this Wednesday for free, no problem at all. And then if you like it, from next month onwards, you can pay the fees and you can join. So that is for the theory class, right? So theory class, once again to repeat, what is happening? We are starting unit number 5 this Wednesday. So what's the date? That is the POA day. You all don't have holidays. It's an online class. No. So today is the 28th. On the 30th of August, right? So class time for the theory class is Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. So sometimes I do it from 7:30 to 9:30, right? Sometimes 8 to 10, but usually between 7 to 9 is where we get the class done. So unit number 5 is not connected to any of the previous units. So therefore, you can even start from unit number 5 and get things covered. And then there are some students who don't know their previous unit. Now, for that purpose, guys, you can always purchase the previous units, that is unit number 1 to 4. Now you have missed those in the theory class. So what you can do is, you don't have to join the 2025 batch and wait until I do that, because that is a waste of time also, that's a waste of money also. So the more cheaper and the faster way for you to cover it up, if you don't have a way to cover it up, is to purchase the theory class recordings and the tube. So the recordings will be there until A levels. You can watch it any amount of times, right? You get a printed tube sent to your doorstep, so you can watch it and catch it up. And if you have any doubts, you can, text me on WhatsApp and get that clarified. So far, more than around in the 2023 batch, around 200, 300 students are actually covering it up through the record. So, what I'm trying to tell you is, you're not too late. Now, some of you all already feel, I'm too late. Now only I started studying. I can't get this done. So that is what I'm telling you all for that purpose. So along with unit number 5, if you all want to, you all can purchase any theory class recordings of a previous unit and catch it up. Then revision, next week we will be doing the last paper for unit number 4. And then from the other week after, the revision class also, guys, it becomes a paid class, right? Only the first entire month was free. So I am planning to, right, courier the unit number 5 theory tube and the unit 2 and 3, right? 2 and 3, I'll be couriering it together. Then it's easy, because others you all have to pay courier charge around twice, no? So I'll be couriering the unit number 2 and 3 revision tips. So you will get the, in one file, you will get the unit 2 theory recap tube, unit 3 theory recap tube. You'll get around 7 to 8 revision papers, right? You'll get the past paper tube, right? You'll get all of that. So I'm planning to courier the first set of tubes by this Friday. That is the target that I have. So if you all are registering, you all can try and register before this Friday. You can register even next week, no problem at all. But if you can register before this Friday, I'll try and send your tudes also for next month in the first batch of tudes that I query. That means you have the tude with you at the beginning itself. Then guys, in terms of the fees, since a lot of people ask me, right, if you're coming only for theory, right, theory only, the class fee is a 2,500. Now this 2,500 is all inclusive, right? You don't have to pay separately for tube printing. I don't charge that way, right? Everything is included. Also the recordings also, you get access in our website until A levels, no problem at all. The only thing is, you will have to pay a courier charge when the tube comes. So that will be around 350 rupees. Also, if you're participating in revision only, okay, revision only, the class fee will be a 2,800 a month. That also including all the printing charges and everything. Now actually to print a file and all of that, guys, it actually is very expensive. It cost me around 700 to 1,000 rupees to print a whole set for one unit. Okay, but I don't charge extra for all of that. It's all covered in your class fee. And the other thing is, guys, there is a combined fee. So if you're coming for theory and revision both, right? If you're now, I know it's not easy to pay also. No? If you're coming for theory and revision both, the combined fee now 2,500 plus a 2,800 is 5,300. So you have a discount, and where you can pay a 4,500. This is the combined fee from September onwards for theory and revision. Now, some of you all might feel this is too high. Some of you all might feel it's not too high. I'll just let you all know, guys. I don't know how is it in outstation, but in Colombo, a normal group class, right? If you go to a physical institute, it's at around 3,200 a month. Theory is a 3,200. Revision is another 3,200. You don't have any combined fees or anything like that. So ideally, you will be paying around 6,400 for a normal class, but I'm only charging you a 4,500 along with the printed tudes and everything. Okay, so that I feel is a reasonable amount, because I also come from a very normal middle class family. I don't want to exploit anyone or do anything. And also, this is a promise that I always make. At the end of the month, if any of you all feel that you all did not learn anything, or it wasn't really useful, you can ask me for a full refund of the fees. I will be more than happy to give you that, because I don't want to waste anyone's hard-earned money. At the end of the month, you come to class, you feel that you don't understand anything, this fellow has not been doing anything, right? Drop me a text, say that you didn't understand, so I want a refund. I'll give you a complete refund of the fees that you pay, so that you will not waste any of your money on me. Okay, so that is about the theory and revision classes going forward. I'll send the payment details also in the group, maybe within today or tomorrow. You all can register under two institutes. There is my own institute, which is called iTutor, and there is also Satya College, which I teach. The only difference is you all will be paying to two separate people. You all will be in two separate WhatsApp groups, but the class is the same, the tunes are the same, everything is the same. Okay, so that is how it will be good. When will I conduct the revision class? Okay, this is the revision class time, right? It's not going to change. It's going to be Monday from 4 to 6:30 or 4:30 to 7. That's going to be the revision class time. Theory class is on Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Now, you all have 1 year to go. Okay, make sure that you get it done properly. Whether it's with me or whether it's with any other teacher, that doesn't matter. But make sure you take things seriously now and somehow plan it out. Okay. Any questions, guys, that you all have? Because I got a lot of WhatsApp messages which I didn't reply to. Any questions you all can quickly ask before I get into the unit? Yep. Okay, right. So I'm guessing that is it with all the questions that you have. We'll get into, for unit number 2 and 3, I printed a nicer file. I hope you all will like it. Actually, I will design the files and all the tute covers. That's something that I really enjoy doing, and I hope you all would like the files and the tute covers for unit number 2 and 3 and all of that. We'll see. Okay, so now we'll get into revision paper 3. Now, revision paper 3, guys, is completely based on economic systems. How many of you all took some time to actually go through your theory notes on economic systems, market economy, command economy, and a mixed economy? Did you all take some time, at least half an hour to 1 hour, just to read your theory note, whatever your school note, theory, tuition class note, any note, right? You must have something with you, no? Right? Did you all take some time to read and go through this part? Okay, so let me quickly take you through the theory recap. Now, this is not at all hard, guys. Let's go through quickly. Okay, so far we have finished 2 classes. Today what we are going to do is we are going to start with economic systems. Right. Now, remember last class we spoke about this, what to produce, how to produce, and whom to produce. Remember we spoke about the 3 basic economic problems, right? Because of scarcity, right, every society has to face these economic problems. Now, in order to answer this, now who is going to decide this? In a country, who is going to decide what to produce? Who is going to decide whom to produce? In order to answer the basic economic problems only, people get together and form something called an economic system. What is an economic system? An economic system, we say here, a mechanism or the institutional framework made by people to do what, guys? To solve the basic economic problems, to actually give answers to this. What do? People come together and form something called an economic system. Then in an economic system, guys, like now, for example, like you have digestive system, respiratory system, there are elements. No? So just like that, in an economic system, what and what do we have? We have households, we have the government, we have firms, labor organizations, NGOs, markets, incentives, legal structures, right? Values, traditions. There are all of this in an economic system. This part is not very, very important. So in your note, guys, there is a note where you go onto each and every one of this. Who are households? What do they do? Who is the government? Who are business firms? What do they do? So this part I am going to skip because this part is very easy, would have been covered in your theory also, and something that you all can just read and figure out as well. And it's not much tested in the paper. we'll go into the most serious areas, guys, right? First thing is how to classify economic system. Is how many of you all know these guys? How many of you all know that there are 3 criteria to classify economic system? I know all of you all know when we say economic systems, there is market economy, command economy, mixed economy. But before coming to market, command, and mixed, you all know how does it start? That is something that most of you all don't know, guys. I've seen even the students who are writing A levels this year, when you ask the how economic systems are, it's a market, command, and mixed. But they don't know the criteria to classify it. Now, please, can you all tell me some criteria to classify business organizations? Now, most of you all are business study students also. You all did at least for O levels. What are the criteria to classify business organizations? Based on what and what can we classify? Based on ownership, right? So we can classify business organizations based on ownership. We can say private sector and the public sector. We can classify business organizations. Another criteria is based on scale. We can say small, medium, large. Then we can classify based on the sector, agriculture, industry, service, right? So based on the objective, profit, non-profit. So likewise, to classify business organizations, if there are criteria like the objective, nature of the business, the scale, same way to classify economic systems also, there are 3 criteria. What are the 3 criteria? The first criteria to classify an economic system, guys, is this: the decision coordination mechanism. What is the first criteria? The decision coordination mechanism. So what are the decision coordination mechanisms that we have, guys? What are the 2 types of decision coordination mechanism? There is one thing called price mechanism, and then there is something else called a planning mechanism. What is price and what is planning? I'll come to that a little later. So guys, if an economic system uses price mechanism, what do we call that economic system? An economic system that uses price mechanism to answer the basic economic problems, or they use the price mechanism to solve, to coordinate their decisions, that economic system is called a market economic system. Market economic system. If the economic system uses the planning mechanism, that means they are not interested in profits and all. They try to give the best social welfare to the society. If they use the planning mechanism, what do we call that economic system? If they use the planning mechanism, we call that a command economic system, or we can call it a planned economic system, right? Both of this is correct. We can call it a command or a plan. So this is the first criteria. So what are we doing? We are classifying economic systems. Criteria number 1, based on the decision coordination mechanism. If they use price mechanism, we call it a market economy. If they use the planning mechanism, we call it what? We call it the command or a planned economic system. Right. What's the second criteria to classify economic systems? The second criteria is based on what? Based on the ownership of resources. In other words, in that economic system, who owns the resources? The land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship is owned by whom? So if the resources are owned by the private sector, right, that is households and firms, if the resources are owned by the private sector, what do we call that economic system? Remember, guys, this is where most students make the mistake. Most students say, based on resource ownership, if private sector owns it, it's a market economy. No, that's not the correct term. If resources are owned by the private sector, we call it a capitalist economic system. Be very careful with this. There is a question in your revision paper also. I'll show you, right? So based on decision coordination mechanism only, we say market and plan. Based on ownership of resources, we don't say market and plan. We say If it's private sector, we say it's a capitalist economy. If the resources are owned by the government, we then call it a socialist economic system. This has to be very, very clear. Now, if they give you MCQ, they'll give you MCQ and say, okay, in which of the following economic systems does let's say, does the private sector own the resources? They'll give you market economy. They'll give you capitalist. They'll give you mixed economy. They'll give you some things. Remember, the correct answer is a capitalist, not market. Okay, I'll show you how it connects also later. Don't worry. Then there's the third criteria is what? What's the third criteria? The third criteria to classify economic systems is, right, based on the incentives that is used. What is an incentive, guys? If I ask you, what's the incentive for you to come to this class today? In other words, what made you come to this class today? Okay, free, fine, right? Could be one incentive. What else? Why did you now? It'll rain you also in Colombo. You could have slept now after school. Why? Why did you come to this class? Right? Okay, maybe, right? Okay, to get a good result in A levels. Fine. Okay, maybe because your crush is coming. Okay, fine. Maybe because your parents reminded you that there is class. If you don't go, let's see what happens. Right? You know, certain reasons, right? Certain reasons made you come to this class. Now, that is what you call an incentive. What is an incentive? An incentive is what makes you do something. Now, some of you all would have come to this class to learn something, to get some good results for A level, right? You all would have come for this class for that. What incentive is that called, guys? That is what you call material incentives. What are material incentives? Material incentives is you're doing something because that is giving a benefit for you. So, for example, see, material incentives, we say, is dominant in a market economic system, right? In a market economy. Now, first and third criteria, we classify it the same way. If it's material incentives, we call it a market economic system. So, in a market economic system, profit earning and self-interest acts as the incentive. Profit earning is the incentive for the producer. Producer wants to earn more and more profits. The consumer wants his self-interest. Now just think of this class, will you guys? Why are you coming to this class? You're coming to this class for your self-interest. No? That's not a bad thing, right? You're coming to this class for you to, let's say, get a good grade, right? Understand the subject, pass A levels, get a good job later. That's why you're coming to this class. Why am I doing this class as a producer? So that I can earn some profit, right? So I have a profit motive, you have a self-interest motive. So that is dominant where? In a market economy. Then what is the second incentive? The second type of incentive, guys, we'll leave moral for now, right? Is coercive incentive. What is coercive incentive? Coercive incentives is when someone forces you to do something. Now, let's say, for example, you came to this class because your mother said, right, if you don't go to this class, you're not going out tonight, right? If you don't go to this class, let's see what happens to you, right? Your mother scared you and, sent you to this class. If that is why you came to this class, right, that is called a coercive incentive. You're doing something because someone is forcing you to, because you have no other choice. If you came to this class to pass the exam, get good grades, material incentive, self-interest, that is for your benefit, you came. But if you came for this class because your mother forced you, right, or your father said, we'll see what happens, right, we'll see what I do to your phone if you don't go to the class, right, if something like that is what made you come to the class, that is what you call a coercive incentive. So coercive incentives are common in which type of economic system? A coercive incentive is common, guys, in a command economic system. So remember, there are mainly two types of incentive systems. What is an incentive? What makes you do something? Because if you all don't know, make notes. You all have the tute with you, printed tute, right? Paste sticky notes, write on this. That is up to you all. Okay, don't just look at the screen and look at me and wait. right? Then you all also don't concentrate. At least, keep texting on the chat box, right? Keep yourself active during the 2 hours. Don't just, not just for econ, right? For all the subjects. Even when you all go to a physical class, don't just look at the teacher's face and wait, right? Maybe the teacher looks nice. Doesn't happen in my class, but in another class, let's say teacher looks nice. Just don't look at the teacher's face and wait, right? When they explain, right, you make notes, right? Engage with the class. You then understand and remember better than just looking at the and doing that. It doesn't work. So make notes, right? Color, highlight, do whatever you all want during this time. Okay. So then once again, what's the incentive? An incentive is what makes you do something, what drives you to do something. So what is a material incentive? You're doing it because you're getting some benefit. Producers are producing because they are getting a profit. Okay. Let's say, but consumers are doing it because they are getting their self-interest. What if the voice is sweet, right? Maybe, right? Maybe I'm not denying this, right? I also had, during O levels, A levels and all, we actually had in school and all, we had all old teachers, but during O levels, we had some actually nice teachers, right? Very young people around 20, 25, right? Who were just freshly graduated. Nice to learn with them also, right? They also can relate to us. Very nice people, rather than having this very experienced 50, 60-year-old teachers. It was nice, right? So it was an incentive, okay, to actually go to class and actually learn. So many things, right? Now, again, what is that? Self-interest. You're going to class because your teacher looks nice or your teacher's voice is nice. That's why you're going to class. So have those in mind. Then, guys, now let me ask you this question. Guys, does a market economy necessarily be a capitalist economy? I mean, does an economy using, right? Should an economy using price mechanism, should they necessarily have private sector ownership? Usually, yes, no. Usually, if an economy is using price mechanism, they have private sector ownership. My question is, do they necessarily have to have this? Definitely, should they have that? The answer, guys, is no. Usually, yes. This is something that is tested in past papers also, right? So usually, if an economy is using price mechanism, the private sector owns the resources also. So usually, a market economy is also a capitalist. But does a market economy necessarily have to be a capitalist? No. Because there can be economic systems where decisions are made based on price mechanism, but resources are owned by the government. There can be situations like that. Practically in the world there are no, but maybe there can be. There can be a market economy that uses price mechanism, but resources are owned by the government. So remember, if they ask you a question, if they ask you saying, does a market economy necessarily have to be a capitalist? You should say no. You can say usually yes, a market economy. Now you need to explain the criteria. You need to say economy is classified as a market economy based on decision coordination mechanism. So if they use price mechanism, they are market. Then a economy is classified as a capitalist if the resources are owned by the private sector. So usually if they use price mechanism, private sector owns the resource. So usually market economies are capitalist. But necessarily, it doesn't have to. There can be situations where a market economy can become a socialist as well. Have that in mind. Same way the other side. Does a command economy, does it necessarily have to be a socialist? There's a command economy that uses planning mechanism. Does it definitely have to be a socialist economy? Again, no. Usually, yes. Usually, a command economy also has government ownership. So usually, a command economy is also a socialist, but not necessarily. Remember, necessarily means definitely. Does it definitely have to be this? No. Right? There is a question. We'll do that as well. Okay. So now, There are so many criteria, no, guys. Based on all these criteria only, we summarize and we mainly classify economic systems into three, right? We classify market, planned, and mixed. So all of you all know market, planned, and mixed, but none of you all know how that story comes. Is that okay, guys? The criteria shaped. Any questions? Okay, right. Then, guys, we'll get into these economic systems a little. We look now. Most of this you all know. I don't have to waste time. Okay, so we'll start off quickly, right, with a market economic system. Now, what is a market economics? Sorry, I didn't teach moral incentives. No, what are moral incentives, guys? Moral incentives are, now, you're doing something not because you're going to benefit, that is self-interest, no. Not because someone is forcing you, that is coercive, no. You're doing something because you feel good about it. You're doing something because you feel that is the right thing. Now, for example, let's say you're going in the bus. Someone all gets it. You stand up and give the seat. Now, when you stand up and give the seat, are you getting any personal benefit from that? Is there a material incentive? No, right? You're not getting anything personal. There is no self-interest from it. Is someone forcing you and telling, Deepang seat take? No, there is no coercive incentive. But you're doing it because you feel that's the right thing to do, right? That is what you call the moral incentive. Based on moral incentives, you can't classify economic system. That is there in any economic system. So people in a market, command, all of them, they will have some degree of moral incentive. Now, sometimes when you're going in the road, you might see a beggar. You give the fellow 50 rupees. Is someone forcing you to give 50? If you give 50, are you going to get something? Is there a self-interest? No. You're doing it because you feel, saying, nice fellow, right? And you give them a 50. That's what you call the moral incentive, right? Then we'll come into a market economy. What is a market economy, guys? A market economy is an economic system. Yes, right. If my crush is standing in the bus, that may be material instead. Okay. So a market economic system is an economic system that solves the basic economic problems using price mechanism. So usually in a market economic system, there is private ownership, right? The resources are owned by the private sector. There is freedom of choice. There is competition because anyone can come and start a business, no, guys. In a market economy, government doesn't come, no. Anyone has the choice to, if they want, they can become an entrepreneur, they can start a business, they can do all of that. Therefore, competition is high. Then incentive based on self-interest, we spoke about this. Operation of price mechanism, we will speak about this. Okay. Consumer sovereignty, it's there in a paper, we will speak about this. And also limited role of the government. Now you all need to know the characteristics, okay? Because only if you know the characteristics, there are very common MCQs that come. One more thing, guys, about the past papers. Did any of you all attempt? You all have a past paper tute, I know. Did any of you all start on it? I printed and sent a unit 1 past paper tute with all the MCQs, essay questions, right? So this is what I want you all to do, right? Now, most likely, once the 2023 A-level batch finishes, I will start like a past paper class for you all. That I will do mostly for free. And I will, this time for your batch, I'm only going to not do all the questions. I'm only going to touch on the harder questions, okay? So therefore, what I want you to do is, from now itself, start doing, and this is the benefit of online class. So all the past papers I am doing for the 2023 batch, I have recorded it and put it on my YouTube channel, right? So if you go to my YouTube channel, let me quickly show this to you, right? You all can start doing this, guys. This is music that I was listening to. iTutor. Right, sorry, my Wi-Fi, this one is over. Okay. You go to the website, the YouTube channel, iTutor, no, not COD Mobile. Go to the website, this, right? Go to iTutor SL. This is my YouTube channel. Go to playlists. Don't go anywhere else, right? Go to playlist. Here, guys, you all will see. Can you see over here? Past Papers Unit 1, right? There's a playlist called Past Papers Unit 1 with 25 videos. These are small videos, are not 2-hour videos. Okay. See, open this playlist. You have all the past papers that I have put on YouTube, right? So see here, the first one here, the second video, Introduction to Economics 2011, paper 1, question 1 to 9. So that is the 2011 MCQs, Unit 1 MCQs. Then here, the third video, 2012 question paper 1, question 1 to 6, Q1 to 6. That is the 2012 MCQs. So this is what is there in your past paper printed tube that I sent you. So what I want you to do is, you don't have to watch these videos. You do it on your own. You do it on your own. You have the, now you all have a past paper book, no? Okay. So mark your answers. You all have the answers, no? So mark the answers. If you don't understand a question, then come and watch the video, because you can watch the video fine, that's okay, but if you want to save time, do it on your own, because some questions are easy, no? Now sometimes they're asking which of the following is a positive statement, which of the following is a normative statement. Now those, you don't have to listen to my explanation to do that question. You can do it, no? You do it. The questions that you can't understand, come and watch. So you have to find the correct video. So that is your skill. I don't have to teach you all how to find YouTube videos. Okay. So after all the MCQs, guys, the essay questions are there. Here, the one here, the 40-minute video here. This one, right? See, the, oops, right? This one is saying here, 2011, paper 2, question 1, right? Sorry, not this one. Oops, did I move something around? 2011, paper 2. Yeah, 2012, paper 2. 2013, paper 2. So all the paper 2 ones are also there. So little by little, you start doing it. I will start a past paper class towards November, December, but I will not go through all the questions. From those, only a selected tough questions I will go through. Okay, is that clear, guys? Can you all get started little by little on the past papers? Fine. Yes, little by little get started, right? No big this thing. Maybe you can allocate in iTutor video playlist. Several Arshads are there. No, there's only me. I'm the only Arshad in the iTutor. There's another Arshad who teaches econ in Satya College, but iTutor is not his. iTutor is mine. There can't be another Arshad in iTutor. Okay, right. Okay. So then we'll talk a little bit about price mechanism, guys. What is this price mechanism? We say in a market economic system, everything is based on the price, guys. Everything is based on the price. That's what you call price mechanism. Okay. So when you go to make a decision, it's always based on price. So price performs, we say, 3 functions. Number 1 is the signaling function. What is the signaling function? Please, can you give me another name for the signaling function? Signaling function is also known as what? It's also known as the what function? Others? Come on, this is not that hard. The signaling function is also called the, it's also called the informative function. What does that mean? That means price gives you information. It gives you signals. Can you tell me, guys? For example, if the price of a product is very cheap, right? What signal does it give you? Does it tell you that there is a shortage of that good? Or is there like an excess of that good, surplus? If something is very cheap, what signal does it give you? If something is very cheap, it gives you the signal that, this good is there are so much of this good. There is an excess of this good. But if some good is very expensive, what signal does it give you? It tells you, this good is scarce, right? There is a shortage. There is only very little of this, right? So, price gives you signals. Same way, guys, price also performs the incentive function. What's the incentive function? That means price motivates you to do something. Now, for example, ladies, right? Did you all go these days? There is a, I heard my parents saying there is a sale in, I don't know if you all are in Colombo though, in SLECC, ladies' shoes and dresses and all of that is there. They said, I never went, but I heard something like that. Anyone went? No? Went? Right. Good to see, right? A lot of people there. So guys, what do you all do, guys? Ladies, when you all see a sale, what happens? When you all see a sale, you all are motivated. No, you all go crazy. Some people, I don't know, boys, if you all get that excited. But ladies, when they see a sale, when they say buy one, get one free, or on 70% off, 80% off, you all go crazy, right? You all go and, keep on buying and buying and buying. So what is that? Price is giving you incentive. So price is giving you an incentive to buy more. So when the price goes down, it's an incentive. It's a motivating factor to whom? When the price goes down, it's a motivating factor for the consumer. On the same side, if the price of a product goes up, that's a motivating factor for the producer. Producer is happy if the price goes up. He's like, wow, let me sell more and more. Yeah. So price performs an incentive function. And then, guys, price also performs a rationing function. Yes, I don't know how many of you all follow cricket and you all realize that the Asia Cup is coming. What did you all, I know, boys at least, how about the prices of the tickets? Ticket prices for the Asia Cup, especially the India-Pakistan match. Did you all see the prices? The minimum was a 9,600, right? That is standing on the grass, right? Minimum was a 9,600. There were things on 96,000 and all of that, no? So ticket prices. Why is the ticket price so high? It's the same ground, same thing, right? There were tickets going at 100,000 for the normal India-Pakistan match, not in India-Pakistan, in Sri Lanka. Why? And the best part is it's all sold out also. Why is that? That is the rationing function price performs, guys, right? It's the rationing function. Yeah. Now, India-Pakistan match, so many people want to watch. No? So many people want to watch. Let's say there are 100,000 seats in the stadium. Okay. But there are 100,000 seats, but 500,000 people want to watch the India-Pakistan match. Yeah. Because of the, rivalry and all of that, right? 100,000 seats only, but 500,000 people want to watch the match. So normal ticket is, let's say, now remember during LPL and all, sometimes they get tickets for free also, right? Because no one is there. Okay. So now, why do you think the ticket is priced at, let's say, 96,000? Because how do you allocate 100,000 seats to 500,000 people? How do you ration it? How do you allocate it? The way to allocate 100,000 seats to 500,000 people is to increase the price. So when you increase the price, some people can't afford it now. Some people can't afford it. They will stop. They'll say, come on, TV, right? They'll say, okay, I'll watch it in TV. And then only those who can really afford it does what? Only those who can really afford it will actually go and watch. So then that's how they ration, guys. That's how they allocate 100,000 seats for 100,000 people. Yeah, that's what you call the rationing function, the allocative function. So if you realize that some good has a very high demand. Now, for example, let's say let's say my revision class I decided I'm only going to take 50 people. Okay, I'm only going to take 50 people. Let's say assumption. So then let's say 100 students want to join the revision class. Then what would I do? I only want 50. Let's say I have a classroom. In my classroom, I can only put 50 people. So, but 100 people want to join. What will I do? I will increase the fees. No, I will increase the price. I'll say, okay, look here, students, now the fees is not 2,800, fees is 5,000. Then some people say, right? And they will go to another teacher. Then only those who really want can afford the class will end up paying. That's what you call the rationing function. So take some time and go through those. That's about price mechanism and the functions that price plays. Then after that, guys, this part is about property rights. I'm not going into very detail here, right? You all can do a little bit of reading on this. What I will do is I will upload a small video on this, right? Since we don't have that much of time today, I'm not going into property rights. I'll upload a small video of me explaining this on the YouTube channel. Right? So you all can watch. If you all don't know, those who know, then it's completely fine. Then guys, we'll talk about this thing, right? How does the market economic system Answer the basic economic problem. Now, this is your first question in revision paper 3, no? How does a market command and a mixed economy, how do they answer the 3 basic economic problems? So then this part also I will leave it. I will explain it when we do the paper. Okay. So how does in simple terms, I'll tell you, how does a market economy answer what to produce? Based on price mechanism, they produce the most profitable goods. They don't care whether it is good for the society, bad for the society. They don't care. Whatever that is giving them the highest profit, they will produce that, right? That is market economy, how they answer what to produce. Then how does a market economy answer whom to produce? Based on price mechanism, they will see what method is cheap. Is using capital cheap or is using labor cheap? Whatever that is cheap, they will do that because they want to maximize profits. No? So to maximize profits, you want to minimize your cost. So whatever method that minimizes their cost, they will do. Then how do they answer the question, whom to produce? They will look at, right, we don't care about whom to produce, is about distributing the goods. No, they don't care about distributing goods equally. If anyone has the purchasing power, if anyone has the money, they can come and buy. That's how they answer the whom to produce question. That's a little bit about the market economic system. So we'll move on to the command economic system. Okay. So we have command and planned, and then we are kind of done. So we have command, we have mixed, and then we have social and socialist, right? And then this part is done. This is focus area 4, right? PP, see, that is for next week. So today we are only doing until page number 21. And when you're making your short note, you can focus until page number 21. Guys, make a nice short note, right? That will actually help. So if you can make the 4 short notes and finish it off, then that unit is over. You have studied that unit. You have a small short note also, and that will give you a lot of confidence. Remember, unit number 1 gives you 28 marks in your paper. 4 MCQs, 1 essay question. 28 out of 200. Not a small amount. Okay, so if you even learn unit number 1, 2, and 3, you can pass the exam days. Unit number 1, 2, and 3 gives you around 90 marks in your paper. So out of 200, you need 40 out of 100. That means 80 out of 200 to pass. Unit number 1, 2, 3 itself is enough to pass the exam. Then think about the people who fail this exam. Fellows who fail econ. Think what kind of nonsense they would have been doing for the last 2-3 years. Right? If someone says, you know, they failed econ is very hard, that means that person has been doing nothing, no? Because with 12 unit syllabus, with the first 3 units, just studying the first 3 units properly, you can pass the exam. So that is the beauty of econ, right? It doesn't have it's not there in any other subject. If you can pass the exam with the first 3 units, just think of the people who are failing. Sad, right? Right, we'll come to this. Okay, so what is this command economy, guys? A command or a planned economic system. We said this is an economic system that answers the basic economic problems using a planning mechanism. You have someone called a central planning authority. Think of the central planning authority like the government. There's someone like the government. They are the ones doing everything. Okay, so that is that. Then what do we have? Characteristics. Public ownership is there. Then there is using planned mechanism, acting based on social welfare, right? Trying to achieve public well-being. So remember, market economy is all about competition and profit and self-interest. That was a market economy. Now, when you talk about a planned or a command economy, this is mainly run by the government. Government doesn't want profit and all. No. Government wants to give a good service, right? Increase the social welfare, right? Try to achieve public well-being where everyone is equally treated, everyone gets benefited. And that is what the government wants to do, you know? That is what you call a planned or a command economy. Then what are the weaknesses, guys? Now think, if Sri Lanka, there was no private sector. Everything is government. Government schools, government education, government hospitals, everything is government. No private sector at all. What would be the problems? Number 1, problem in coordination, right? Do you think our parliament, our government can cater the needs and wants of this entire country? Think there is no private sector? Do you think our fellows can coordinate properly and do it with the whole country? No. So there will be definitely problems with coordination. Then collapse of quality. Now just think of government services, the quality. Think of, okay, think of, let's say, government transport, the trains that go always late, right? Look at the quality of it, always right? And always breakdowns in the middle. Every 1 or 2 months, those fellows will go on strikes also. There is no quality, right, in government stuff. That's there. Then insufficiency of incentives. Now, if only the government is doing it, do they have a motivation to do it better? Now, remember, guys, when there is competition, there is an incentive to do better, right? Now, think if there is not, okay, think that, okay, now maybe right now, some of you all in class, you all might be first in class, right? You all might have good marks and all. Now, think that if you're the only student in the class, do you have any incentive or motivation to do better? No. Same way, if government is the only supplier, will government have an incentive to do better than someone? No. But in a private sector, in a market economy, there are so many businesses competing. So there is an incentive, there is a motive to do better. But here there is no incentive as such. And also, in a command economy, yes, there can be environmental degradation. Why? Because a high amounts of waste. There is no incentive to do better, no. So they just waste resources and exploit and all of that. Therefore, it can be bad. So you can read through the advantages and disadvantages. But remember, guys, now if I ask you the question, in reality, is there a pure market economy or a pure command economy? Is there an economy that is 100% market, or is there an economy that is 100% command? In the real world, are there economies like that? There are no economies like that, guys. There are economies close to this. Can you give me some examples of economies close to being a market economy? They're not 100% market, but at least 90%, they're very close. Examples of economies close to being market economy. So you have USA, maybe UK, right? They're close to being market. Examples of economies close to being a command economy. North Korea, you can give Cuba, right? Close to being a command. But what does that mean, guys? That means almost every economy out there are what economies? If they are not market or if they are not planned, all the economies out there are what? All the economies out there are mixed economic systems. Now remember, guys, when you define mixed economy, right, I want you to be very precise. Don't say mixed economy is where the private and the public sector owns resources. Don't say that. A mixed economy is a mix of the mechanisms. Okay. So when you're defining your answer, when you write your first line, say a mixed economy is an economic system that uses both price and planning mechanism. And then say in a mixed economy, you will have the government who owns resources, private sector who owns resources, then fine. Don't start your answer by saying mixed economy is a where private sector and public sector both are there. Don't say that. Say that a mixed economy is a mix of the mechanism. That is what a mixed economy is. So a mixed economy solves the basic economic problems using the price and the planning mechanism both. So in a mixed economy, you have the private sector, you have the public, the government sector. So private sector owns resources, they use the price mechanism, they try to achieve their objective. On the same side, you have the government who will use the planning mechanism and who will try to achieve their objective. That's what you call a mixed economic system. See, guys. So in a mixed economic system, self-interest is the motivational factor for the private sector. Social welfare is the motivational factor for the public sector, for the government. Both private and public sector owns resources. Decisions are, this correction I always forget to make, guys. Decisions, remember, is if you take a mixed economy, which mechanism do you think might be more dominant? Price or planning? From the two mechanisms, it will be the price mechanism that is a little bit more dominant, right? So can you make the correction here and say decisions related to resource allocation is done mainly through the price mechanism, not plan mechanism, guys. Please make that correction. I forgot to correct that, right? Is mainly made through the price mechanism, and competition operates through the private sector. Mainly price mechanism, but there is planning mechanism as well. But from the two, which is more dominant? Now just think of Sri Lanka. From the two mechanisms, price mechanism is more dominant in Sri Lanka also. You're not coming to this class because of social welfare. No, you're not coming to this class to teach other people. No, you're coming to this class to learn and do your exam. Self-interest, price mechanism. Okay, right. Then, so far are we fine, guys? Questions, problems, issues? Set. I'll take another 5-10 minutes and finish this off. Okay, and then we can go to the paper. Remember, guys, this theory recap is not the main part, right? Theory recap that all this we learn in our theory class. Like I always say, because guys, now I want you all to work on this, right? Not only for econ, for other subjects also. Now some of you all, I know, you all are very good with your theory, right? You understand, right? Very good. But when you go to write answers, you can't do that. You struggle. Remember, whoever who marks your paper don't know whether you know the theory or not. No? The only thing that they can see is, right, what you write. Yes, like most of you all who have replied in the chat box now. So remember, guys, the only way to get better at answer writing is by writing itself. So you have to put pen on paper. You need to sit and you need to write. The more times you write and write and write and write and write, what happens? The more times you write and write and write and write, the better you get. Exams are enough only if you learn the theory recap and try with questions. Should be okay. As long as, but remember, you need to know the theory in the first place. The theory has more details. The explanation is much more detailed. Theory recap also has most of the things. Around 85% of what is there in theory is there. There can be small things that might not be there. Okay, all right. Then, if we take a mixed economic system, yes, mixed economies are broken into two. One is there is a social market and a socialist market. What are the two? What does this mean? What is a social market economy? A lot of students get this confused. Social and socialist, some people think, right? It's not the same. A social market economy and a socialist market economy are two different things. What is a social market economy? A social market economy is an economic system that is very similar to a market economy. Social market means an economic system very similar to the market. But the government will intervene to promote social justice. Remember, very similar to a market economy. But the government will intervene to promote social justice. What does this mean? This means if there are any human rights violated, government will intervene, rules and regulations. If there are people who are, let's say, the vulnerable parties, right? People who, let's say, don't have an income, government intervenes, right? They help them. People who are retired, right? Government intervenes. This is in a market economy, no government intervenes. That's what I'm saying. This is a mixed economy. It's very similar to a market economy. The only difference is it's very similar to a market economy, but the government will intervene to promote social welfare. That is why we call this a mixed economy. This is not a market economy. Similar to a market, but there is government intervention to promote social justice. So then, guys, now see here, government intervenes to protect human rights in the fields of economic, political, right? And also implement broad social networks. Yes, can you all give me some examples of social networks in Sri Lanka? Social networks means these, not the clubs and societies, guys. Social networks are programs that the government does to help the vulnerable people. Can you tell me in Sri Lanka, what do we have? Number one, pension schemes, guys, right? One set of vulnerable people are the ones who are retired. Retired people don't have a way to earn something. You have pension schemes. Yes. Then for the ones who have are in poverty, don't even have money to satisfy their basic needs, those kind of people, guys, they get something called the samurdhi. Yes. Now samurdhi is being replaced with something new. What's that? In my 2023 class, I keep on updating. I'll update you all also. What is it being replaced with? I have one answer on the chat box also. It's partly being replaced with something called Asvasuma. Asvasu. This is a new program that is coming in, which can be a question in your year. We'll learn that in unit number 8. Not now. Okay? Right. So, government intervenes. See, then in situations where a person faces a disaster, right? When there are unemployment, social situation of aging, poverty, right? All of this, government will intervene because what? Government's main motive is social justice. They will, right? Private sector will handle everything. But by any chance, if there is some sort of injustice happening in the economy, government would always intervene for that purpose. Then how does government do that? They collect money from taxers and all, right? And then they use it for all these purposes. So examples, you have countries like Norway, Germany, Sweden, Finland. And remember, Sri Lanka is also a social market economy. Now, even if you look at Sri Lanka, mainly the private sector, right? Market economy, kind of an economy. But there is government intervention. Government sets rules and regulations. Government, let's say, provides pensions, samurdhi benefits, right? Mahapola scholarships, right? Government does all of that. Okay. Then you have a socialist market. First one was a social market. Now, what is a socialist market then? A socialist market is the other way. A socialist market is very similar to a socialist economy where the government owns everything and government runs it. But still, there is some, right? There is some involvement of a private sector. A socialist is very similar to a socialist market is very similar to a socialist economy where the government runs the whole thing and all of that. But still, there is some sort of a private sector involved. Examples like what, guys? Now see China. If you take China, mostly government, no? Right? Now in China, right, they don't have Facebook and all. They have their own things, right? Government has so many rules and regulations, guys. But still, there is a private sector also shaping. That's what you call a socialist market. Don't get the two confused. What are the two? One is social market, right? Where it's very similar to a market economy, but the government intervenes to promote social justice. Then what is socialist market? Very similar to a socialist economy where the government runs the thing, but there is private sector involvement. Both of these are what? Types of mixed economy. Then you have the last part, guys, on how a mixed economy answers the basic economic problems. I'll cover that in question number 1 of our paper. Okay. So with that, this part is done, guys. Kind of a small recap on economic systems. Any questions that you all have? Questions? Socialist is a socialist market is very similar to a socialist economy. Remember, what is a socialist economy? Where the government owns all the resources, right? Government owns resources. Yeah. But there is a small decision related to the resource allocation is taken by the private sector. Even though the government owns the resources, the private sector influences and they help with the decision making. That's a socialist market economy. Any questions, guys? Anything else? Right. So this is what you all were supposed to read, then go through and all of that and come. Now, telling you all for next week, go through the remaining part of the tute and come. Next week part is a little big, right? So there is PPC, right? There is this increasing and constant topic because there are some stuff that we need to draw as well, right? And there is a little bit more in next week's part. Some of these parts, sometimes I might upload a YouTube video where some parts you can watch and come before the class. Okay, right. So then, shall we take a small break and then get to our paper? Yeah. Now it's 5:44, right? We'll take a break and then this is the paper. How long of a break do you all want? Is 6 minutes okay? 10? Right, I'll give you a 10 minutes. Okay, so it's around 10 to 11 then. Okay, so you can take a break till now it's 5:45. Take a break till 5:55 and then come back. We'll go through the paper. Okay.